First tonight, every year, tens of thousands of runners cross the finish line at the Boston Marathon, and even more people show up to witness history being made.
And unless you're there, you probably wouldn't know there is a convoy of motorcycles riding alongside the athletes, carrying photographers capturing the moments along the way. And one of those drivers weaving in and out of the race is a man from Maine named Neal Weinstein. He's back home after being part of the 127th Boston Marathon. He's here in the 207 studio to share more about this unique gig, which is very different than your day job as an attorney.
Very much so. Yeah, very intense.
I bet. Yeah. So you've been riding alongside these athletes for the last 15 years or so. It was an opportunity that started actually with the Beach to Beacon here in Maine after Joan Benoit herself approached you about it.
Correct. She asked me one day, are you busy the next day? And no. She said, you still have your motorcycle? Can you help us out? I'm like, sure. So I ended up going in, helping her, carrying photographer in the very first race, and I've done every race since, I think, everyone. And then it got so big that she hired a professional management company, Dimsey, Dave McGilvery Sports, and he asked me, he said, hey, you guys did a great job, can you help me out in my race? I'm like, sure. Where's your 10K? He said, well, it's not exactly a 10K. They said, but we do it in Boston. I'm like, oh, okay. Sure, why not? What is it? He said, it's the Boston Marathon. I'm like, which Boston Marathon? He said, the Boston Marathon. And we were kind of shocked. I was totally shocked. I'm like, yeah, I'll try. Very intimidating, very scary to think of that, because the race is so huge that you can't imagine that you're going to be part of this, and you're going to be right inside the fences with police in front of you and camera trucks, national coverage, international coverage.
Let's talk about your assignment. Where are you in the race? Where were you yesterday in the race?
Yesterday I was with Men's Elite, so it's the top runners in the world, we start in front of them about 20 yards with my photographer sitting backwards on this motorcycle. And he's got multiple big digital cameras that are whizzing off. And he took, I think, 30,000 shots yesterday.
Wow. What is the biggest challenge for you?
Staying out of the big TV that's in front of us, because there's a television camera truck that's in front of us. We have to stay behind them, and then we have to go in and around all the runners. Making sure that we don't run them down or block them. Because you're doing a couple corners, the fences are in, millions of people are screaming, and dogs are on the side barking at you, and you just have to stay very calm and keep going at 10 to 12 miles an hour. And my photographer's pushing into me to get stability. Wow. So you get some shoulder and wrist workout. It's a lot of fun.
I bet. And this year's race in particular was a special one. It's 10 years since the Boston Marathon bombing. You were there that day. What do you remember from that race?
I remember the race went off really well, and I was, again, with the lead men. So we finished before the problem, and then we had a little bit of lunch, came back to the finish line, and I'm right maybe 50 feet away from where the first bomb went off at Marathon Sports. And we had just left to return the motorcycles, and my cell phone blew up as soon as I got to the motorcycle shop. First with a friend from Hawaii, did you get blown up? Are you okay? I didn't know what was going on. And then the phone just went crazy with texting and calls from race operations. Where are you? Are you okay? What happened? And then they asked me to come back into town to try to help out, which I then turned around and went with a police escort back into town following other police. It was complete mayhem. When we got into town, I had my car because I dropped off my motorcycle, and people are running out of hotels. Please, we'll pay you anything. Get us out of Boston. We need to live. Nobody knew what was happening.
Wow.
Yeah. And
scary.
You were saying this race this year, pretty emotional for a lot of people.
Very emotional, because they brought back a lot of the 10-year people that were injured, and a lot of the 10-year people that ran it that never finished. So they were all invited back for the 10th anniversary, and they had different ceremonies for survivors and for people that had been injured, and it's a great race.
That was a dark day, but in all your years of doing this, have you ever had any mishaps? Have you ever come close to dropping the bike? Have you ever come close to having a photographer fall off? Anything bad nearly happened or did happen?
Well, I don't know. I think I want to protect myself on that one, but no crashes. There was a television crew a number of years ago. It was another pouring rainy day, and we saw them going around the tracks up at Cleveland Circle, and his bike hit the tracks, and he had a video camera television guy sitting backwards, and they skidded and dumped the television motorcycle.
Oh my goodness.
So, and we were very careful about that after we saw them go down, so we didn't want that. And there have been a few incidences. Thankfully, I've been pretty much out of all of the that kind of stuff. I don't want to be the
Real
story.
quick answer, how long do you want to keep doing this?
My photo guy just called me, Victor, and he runs Photo Run, which is a very professional site. He wants me to now come back to a June race, a 10K and a half marathon this summer as well, when I thought I was pretty much done. But
All right, you're not retired yet? Neal Weinstein, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you doing this. Fascinating line of work you got there.